Greetings, everyone, and welcome to the stream. Hello.
How's everybody doing? I'm finally back from my vacation. 6 days away. I'm happy to be home. I'm gonna leave it at that. I'm happy to be home and doing stuff and get back to work on things. Refreshed. So, yeah, I decided I wanted to do an open mic stream. Normally, open mic streams seem to be usually covering controversial stuff in the 40K community and things like that. That's the normal habit of this format. But, you know, that's not what my channel's about. It's not what, you know, I want all my stuff to be about, is just the controversial stuff. Let's talk about some of the fun stuff. The thing we all really should be here for and are here for, which is, you know, for 40K. We're fans of 40K. We're fans of Warhammer. These are the things we like. This is why we're here. And focusing on the negative all the time is certainly not something I want to do. I don't think anyone else does. So, first time in a long time, and probably the first time of the open mic series, we're having a more casual open mic. Talking today about our favorite Space Marine chapters, mind you. Now, if you do want to bring up your favorite Legion, that's fine. But keep in mind, like everything we're talking about, we are talking about in the 41st millennium, timeline-wise for the most part. So, this is including all chapters. As Alfarius just asked in the chat, are we only talking loyalists? I think it's fine if you bring up warbands, if you got them. I don't know too much about the Chaos warbands outside of, like, the legions that are traitor legions. I don't know much about, like, sub-following or subsidiary warbands for Chaos. I don't know too much about them. I just know about the traitor legions and the traitor primarchs. So, yeah, you can feel free to bring those up if you'd like. Again, if you want to bring up legions coming into the open mic, you can do that as well. But this is an open floor for, like, all chapters of the Adeptus Astartes. So, everything from the boring, plain-ass Ultramarines all the way to something like what a real man likes, like a Black Templar. You know, like, you can talk about something a little bit more fancy and elegant, like the sorry, the Emperor's Children. I know, yeah, Chaos Warband, but still counts. You know, if you want to talk about any of them, by all means, come on in. And this isn't meant to be like a serious debate. I would like, you know, like, if you want to come on to the open mic and debate me about my choice, that's fine. You want to bring up why yours is genuinely the best. But this is a more casual stream. It's not meant to be super serious. So, you know, we're going to try and have fun with this one. But by all means, if you do want to debate mine, I'm perfectly willing to debate, like, why I think my favorite chapter, which shouldn't be too surprising about what it is. My favorite is the Black Templars. I think in terms of, like, one of the greatest characters in the entire lore is Sigismund. I stand by that stalwartly. I don't think you can debate. He had, like, the best, like, final line like ever before he died. Like, just the most scathing fuck you before dying is so perfect. And again, his accomplishments during the Horus Heresy and the Great Crusades, his notability in the lore, and the characters that came after him in the Black Templars, like Helbricht. Yeah, we got Black Templars are the best. I stand by this. I fight me, fight me, fight me. I'm here. Do it. Come on. I'll destroy you. I stand by it. Black Templars are my favorite. I think the favorite aesthetic, the lore of them is great. Like I said, with significant characters. I think the theme of them being these super ultra religious fanatical nutcases compared to other religious nutcases within the Imperium, they're even more severe than they are. The fact that their faith is enough to close the gap, like, with other chapters in terms of their martial prowess and combat, it's baller, dude. It's baller, dude. Black Templars have been my favorite chapter since I learned about them during 6th edition and onward. So, though I'm an orc player primarily in the game, you can't tear me away from my favorite Space Marine chapter, which is the Black Templars. So, you guys know mine. No, I give you a very basic gist of my reasoning. So, by all means, the floor is open to you guys for the open mic. I will share the link in the chat. It's also in the description at any point if you lose it in the chat. Feel free to join in, and I'll pull in callers as you guys appear. I already got Ludus, which is amazing. I would love to hear from him. But before I do, let me welcome everybody in chat. And Nico was here earlier. He's at work, though. So I'm going to read out his comment. Won't be able to mic because work, so I'll just say my favorite is Imperial Fist. Very basic, but I just like my fortification strong. Have a good stream. Good choice, my friend. Good choice.
Those fortifications need construction.
Yes. Actually, genuinely, though, good choice. I like the Imperial Fist. Not surprising, considering that's where the Black Templars came from. I love Dorn. He's my favorite Primarch. Yeah, I can see where it came from. And from there, I think everybody else is available to come in. But I'll welcome everybody. Alfarius, Jackson, Reverend Norse, Osvaldo, Javier, Hagalewilgiv. I'm sorry. I'm just going to say Osvaldo. Welcome, Osvaldo. And Kaiju Blood God. Welcome, guys. All right, I'm now going to pull in Ludus, our first caller. Let's do it. Fuck the nerd. Codex spams more neophytes. Yes. Ludus, how you doing? How you doing, my friend?
I am constantly in pain, but doing better.
Aw. Still haven't recovered?
I have possible nerve damage in my left leg.
Fuck.
I either have nerve damage or ligament damage.
I'm sorry to hear, man.
It is what it is. We will hang out later and we will talk more of this. But I have a list.
A list?
A list within your specifications. And
Okay.
then also outside of your specifications.
Okay.
So if we just go based on chapter alone, I'm going to say the Minotaurs.
Good choice. Reasoning.
Because the closest thing I can figure to a successor chapter for them, or a successor legion for them, I should say, is Death Guard. Or more specifically, Dusk Raiders. They are Dusk Raiders incarnate. They are Dusk Raiders, but Sparta.
But Sparta.
But Sparta. But
I don't
no,
know, they're very world eatery to me, though.
Well, yeah, no, okay. Because this was mentioned earlier by Reverend Norse. Carcharodon Astra, by the way, also a good choice, because they're fucking awesome. Those are
Yes.
world eaters. Minotaurs are not world eaters.
I
They
don't-
they don't actively find civilian casualties as, like, the active score count.
I will disagree with you though again there because I think the Carcharodons are actually I think they're successors of the Night Lords personally.
That would make sense too.
To me it makes way more sense because of they're very terroristy, the Carcharodons, in terms of their methodology, their approach. I think that they're far more Night Lords personally than World
Well,
Eaters.
the only reason I say more World Eater than Night Lord is because Night Lords were stinky little shits, whereas World Eaters, they had terror tactics too. Their terror tactics were like, "We're here."
I don't know, like the terror tactic. They do terror in the sense of scaring everybody to death by killing them the old-fashioned way. But Night Lords, they didn't just like show up and be like, "Hey, we're gonna like kill all of you." No, the sneaky fucker, they kidnap people.
Yeah.
They filleted them. They dropped their heads from orbit onto everybody on the surface.
And
They
that's why
stole
I think-
vehicles. They're straight up terrorists, like in all the full sense.
That's why I think the Carcharodons are more World Eater than Night Lords, but that's irrelevant. Warband would be the Butcher's Horde, or Butcher Horde, for one reason and one reason only. They're Chaos Lord. Karn the Betrayer. Think about this. You have got to be psychotic to round up a group of Carnate Berserkers. You've got to be even more psychotic to stay in control of them.
Correct.
He's the bestest of best boys. Asmogon has been waiting for this day where I finally backtrack one of my opinions. Favorite Loyal and Traitor Legions. Loyal Legion has not changed, and that is White Scars. Because White Scars are, again, the bestest of boys in the 30k universe. Traitor Legion is now Death Guard.
Yeah. Okay. I respect it.
But that's also more because of fucky wucky warp bullshit. More of like right at the beginning of the Horus Heresy, the Death Guard was actually one of the ones that you got to see a lot more of the. A good example of this is in the Fulgrim book. Fulgrim just goes batshit crazy in one book. Where with the Death Guard, you get to see like the constant back and forth inside the Legion, even as far as between Mortarion himself and Typhon.
Yeah, you do get to see the dichotomy and like the culture of the Death Guard a lot more than
a lot of the others. Like
Yeah,
hell,
a
I'd
lot.
even say I'd put them on par with the Luna Wolves, as far as like that dichotomy.
Yeah, I'll give you that. Like the Luna Wolves, which later became the primary bulk of the Black Legion. Yeah, they got the most development out of the traitors, and next to them would be the Death Guard.
Here's one that I believe one of our associates would respect. Because if I remember right, this is one of his favorite chapters. Jackson the Flint Knight said his are the Lamenters. Wearing their heart on their shoulder. I relate to wearing their heart on their shoulders and have not the best... What?
Yeah, what? Because I relate wearing their heart on their shoulder. Just so we're clear, there's the figurative form of that, and then there's what the Lamenters do, which is that's their fucking symbol.
Yeah, and my favorite traitor is Iron Warriors. Why? Siege go. Brrr.
Iron Warriors
I mean,
seems to
that's
be a lot of people's favorites. They're not really that high.
You know what? I honestly like. You know what? I'm going to say something controversial. I think the Iron Warriors are the safe choice for favorite traitor legion.
You think they're the safe choice? Okay.
The safe choice. Okay. Yeah.
I agree,
Yeah.
but I want to hear your reasons. I have my reasons for agreeing, but.
So okay.
By the way, to make sure to leave a like on the stream, guys. Support it. All that fun stuff.
If you like, say, Emperor's Children, you're of a certain orientation. If you like fucking World Eaters, you must be absolutely crazy. Don't come around me. If you like Death Guard, well, you must not have showered in a few weeks. But if you like Iron Warriors, they're kind of, relatively normal compared to the rest of the Traitor Legions. They are the normal Traitor Legion now that I think.
I will agree,
Them and
and
maybe
I will agree, and I will add to it. So not only do they have like no preconceived like theme to them, but they also are the least. I'll say this: they also have the most character, while still being like not preconceived in any particular angle, like the other direct loyal to their Chaos God, I should say. They actually have a lot of character to them next to the Black Legion.
Yeah, and
which
I would
don't
even
really
push
have
it.
character to them.
I would even push it a little bit further in that they should probably be considered a renegade legion and not a loyal legion, because they hold about as much disdain for the Chaos Gods as they do for the Imperium.
Yes, but
They
it's
would
their
be about-
usage of demons and their demon engines
Yeah.
that definitely firmly puts them, at the very least, in the use of chaos more than, and they hate the loyalists, so they're actively fighting them. So they
Which
need
again
chaos.
it goes down to the difference between a renegade legion or a traitor legion. I think they fit more in renegade than traitor, because they don't worship the gods; they just use their powers.
Yeah,
I would say the renegade legions would be probably the Night Lords, the Iron Warriors, and that might actually be it. I can't think off the top of my head of who else would fit in that.
all I can think of, like the Black Legion worship all four Chaos Gods. They're Chaos Undivided, effectively. The World Eaters
are traitor.
Yeah. The World Eaters, they worship Khorne, if not actively directly, by virtue of their actions.
Exactly.
Emperor's Children very much worship Slaanesh. The Word Bearers worship all four. They're Chaos Undivided again.
I've came up with a new argument. And this is not true for me, but I would love to meet the person who has this argument. Someone's favorite legion being the father of the majority of the traitor warbands. The Ultramarines. I mean, you know what's actually really messed up by virtue of if you take like the World Eaters and how many they fathered or how many the Emperor's children have, the Ultramarines probably have sired more traitor warbands.
I would agree
Now-
with you, yes. But the thing is, this is where we get into a lot of the weeds with the chapter discussion, is so many of the chapters come from the Ultramarines, both traitor and loyal. That,
And it's like, yeah.
yeah. It's getting into a lot of the weeds of that, like, discussion. Like, oh, the Ultramarines, they're, you know, maybe the core of them, they're traitor, the core of them, they're loyalist. I think it's just the Black Library are way too fucking obsessed with Ultramarines that they can't help but include them in way more than they should be.
And I figured out the how every founding legion has like something special about them. I found out what the Ultramarines is, and it's that they're constantly full of shit because their iconography is a toilet bowl or a toilet seat.
I would agree.
By the way, Jackson corrected his statement, and it's funny because it's also the biggest understatement I've ever seen. He said, "Mine are the Lamenters. My reasoning is because I relate of wearing their hearts on their shoulder and not having the best of luck."
That's
like
an understatement.
that's like saying the World Eaters have kind of a temper.
It's that's about the same level of understatement.
Zimzilla,
Oh, welcome,
Zimzilling-
Kill Team Hungry. Welcome.
Dark Angels. They really do dip into the Warrior Monk vibe, plus the Fallen are unique and versatile as a Renegade Chaos Space Marine faction.
That and the people who I find the people who are the fans of Dark Angels are people who would like the Alpha Legion if the roles were reversed normally, because it's the triage, the stealth,
Yeah.
it's that shit. So
And honestly, I would disagree with that. I prefer the Dark Angels before all of that, for all the espionage and all that shit.
I like the Dark Angels as far as I enjoy the Lion and discussing him. He's I find him an interesting Primarch, but like all Primarchs, he suffers from how his characterization has changed from book to book.
Well, here's an interesting thought for you. Do you think the Dark Angels will go back to the way they were before the fall of the Lion and the fall of Caliban?
I would say, okay, so is this a question of do I think that's what the writers are going to do, or is this more of a question of what I would like to see?
Do you... no.
Very different responses.
That is two very different responses. Okay. Do you think that is the most possible outcome as far as if the lore goes the right way?
If the lore goes the right way and it flows as it should.
Will they stop being like middle of the ground questioning whether they're loyal and traitor and just go back to like, you know,
I do think
holistic space knights, or will they just stay the same?
I think they'll go to a holistic Space Knights, especially with how prickly the Lion is going to be, and plus it's fated, like as a prophecy, that he will resolve his issues with his adopted father, Luther. So he's going to resolve his issues. Between the two of them, their issues will be resolved. Like that's like
just
prophesized.
because I know how to say this in 40K terms, and it'll be funny saying it this way. Yeah, when the warp freezes over.
Yes, but that is what has been like. It's like the fate, right? So,
yeah.
And for the lore to be like a satisfying right, this is again talking as if the lore goes how it should.
Right.
The setup there is that they will resolve their issues, and all of this should be leading to as the Big Wolf Daddy himself put it, the Wolf Time. This is all leading to the apocalypse of when all the Primarchs come back, and presumably the Emperor, and then the Chaos Gods come in full force. That's how their lore should be flowing. It should be flowing to the final combat, and then from there, whatever books they release should be like back in time during different sections of the lore. That's how it should go. Is that how that's going to go? No. That's not how it's going to go at all. I don't trust Black Library to deliver on that at all. But we're talking about shoulds here. So I do think the Dark Angels will return to, if it goes how it should, to a more knightly order as opposed to the, what would you even call it? It's both a Cold War and an active civil war within that chapter.
Right. Yeah, I get what you're saying. Kill Team Hungry's favorite chapter is the White Scars. Woohoo!
Hey, look, Ludus, you got a friend.
I had friend.
Oh, I guess since you mentioned your favorite Traitor chapter / Warband / Legion, my favorite, and again, I don't know all the war bands, I just know the Traitor Legions, so I have to go by Legion on this one. Okay. Mine is, and I really thought about it lately, I have kind of a split answer here. If we're going by the actual lore and like the actual intrigue and interest, it's the Death Guard. Like, I think they're the most interesting of the Traitor Legions, lore-wise.
From an unbiased perspective, even though I said that was my favorite, completely unbiased, your reasoning for that makes sense. Let me word it that way.
Yeah, like I also some of the similar to why I like the Black Templars, some of the most interesting individual characters can be found amongst the throng of the Death Guard, both on the Loyalist and Traitor sides. So that's why I like the Death Guard. However, aesthetically and more brain deadly, just like the World Eaters are my favorite in terms of aesthetic.
Okay, I could see that too. Yeah, that makes sense. Well, it does help that the Black Templars stole some shit from the World Eaters, but that's fine.
Oh yeah, like the chaining of their weapons to their bodies. Yeah, I'm aware.
Their general demeanor towards collateral damage,
and their approach with martial combat. Yeah. So yeah.
Why bomb them when we could just
shank them,
grab them? But sir, that's not tactically advantageous. But you're not listening to me. We could grab them and then beat them. We can't do that from space. But we have the advantage here. You're not listening.
Yep.
All
right.
Sorry.
I was just gonna. So everybody, I'm gonna share the links again in the chat. Feel free to jump into any of the waiting call rooms.
He's tired of listening to me.
No, it's just it is open mic. I'm supposed to have like a rotating people. You can stay in until we get someone else, but. Let's see.
And plus, it's also this is going to sound bad the way I say it. It's also kind of fun discussing like what some other people are saying.
Oh yeah.
Like the one I was about to bring up was Zimzilla said I could totally see the White Scars being some of the best Marines to be deployed with. Like, but you wouldn't know you're deployed with them.
What?
If you're deployed alongside White Scars, you wouldn't know it while you're on the battlefield. They don't fight in large numbers like that. They fight away from large numbers like that.
Well, yeah, they use hit and run tactics, don't they?
Yeah. So if you're deployed with them, you probably wouldn't know it unless you like met with them beforehand.
You'd probably be like directly connected with individual units. It depends on if you are a White Scar or not. If we're talking from the perspective of a guardsman and a guard regiment aiding the Space Marines in a direct combat, you probably wouldn't do any interaction anyway. A, because they're Space Marines as it is, and B, they're not a social chapter.
Back on one of the first couple of things, when like talking about how the different Traitor Legions have the stereotypes, the two of the last three things in the chat, James Mack and Emperor's Children for Life, and Gilly Guy 52 said, I like the Night Lords just because you rarely see fictional inspiration from Count Dracula, the historical figure, instead of Count Dracula, the vampire.
Right. I mean, I guess if you're a history nut, that is more interesting. And not to mention, even if you're not a history nut, the Vlad the Impaler was actually far more terrifying than Dracula from, like, the traditional movie. So...
And actually, here comes another controversial thing. You know which Traitor Legion I actually link more to, like, shit like Vlad the Impaler and all that? World Eaters.
In savagery, I'd agree. Yeah. They're very bloody. They're very violent.
And I could actually see them drinking the blood of their enemies as they impaled them.
Yeah.
I can't see that with Night Lords. I'm sorry.
I could see them doing it if they did it to scare people. Like, everything the Night Lords does is about fear and about control. 1 second, I got a super chat. Tiki, thank you so much for the super chat, man. Thank you. Carcharodons, I love chain axes. Don't know of many loyalist chapters that use them.
Including the Carcharodons.
Oh, there's a notification. I will say this. Carcharodons are very, very cool, and you're the second person to point them out as their favorite, unless I missed somebody, and I apologize if I did.
No, that was the second one.
Yeah.
I've been keeping an eye on the chat, too.
Yeah, as we were discussing earlier, the Carcharodons are definitely Night Lord successors. I stand by that.
I disagree. I say World Eater wholeheartedly.
I other than the savagery and the use of chain axes, there's really not a basis for that. I don't think. Like they're very tasty with their approach.
Their preferred type of combat, their combat doctrine, the fact that they also have the opinion, like the Black Templar, of we could bomb them from orbit, yes, or we could grab them. You know, like no, they are so very World Eatery. It's not fun. Actually, hold on. You know what? Hold on. Let me look this up.
Yeah, well, the reason I like to also like to pull, I like to point out you're pointing out their tactics in battle as your reason for World Eaters, right?
No, not just that. No, I'm.
Well, let me say this. I would also point at their tactics to say why they're Night Lords. Because yes, they're savage, violent, and brutal like World Eaters, but they're cold, cool, collected, and they focus on spreading as much terror during their sieges as much as possible. They don't really relish in the violence like World Eaters do. They're actually noted to be cold and quiet because they're sharks. I think, and as much as I don't watch the Adeptus Ridiculous podcast anymore, I do got to give credit to Bricky, how he described them. The Carcharodons are very much written like they was written by like an edgy 14-year-old. Like for every like really cool as shit thing about them, it always
there's that one like super edgy thing.
It always circles back to kind of like but they're sharks in space. So it's like, cool black eyes, gray skin. They're cold. They don't say anything during battle at all, not even to each other.
Here it is.
So yeah, they're very much like that. Like everything has to circle back to the shark theme. So it kind of kills some of that, but it's funny as shit, I will say. But
actually, you know what? No, I'm gonna backtrack that. I mean, their temperament definitely reminds me of World Eaters. But looking at their combat doctrine, now that I'm digging a little bit more into it...
Actually, that's what I'm saying. I think their temperament isn't that of World Eaters. They don't relish in the violence. Not actively. There's no yelling. There's no celebratory. There's...
Okay, yeah. I could definitely see Night Lords, though. I am going to backtrack. I'm like, I could see Night Lords.
Yeah, they're cold. They're cool. They're collected. To the point where they don't say anything to each other during the combat. Like, they're actively... just cold, ruthless, and efficient, and they do focus on causing terror during their violence. As to
you know who their suspected successor is?
The Carcharodons or the Night Lords?
Carcharodons.
I didn't think they had a successor.
They have an unconfirmed one.
Oh, okay. What's the unconfirmed successor?
Just random shot in the dark. Who do you think it is? It's not chimeric, I'll at least tell you that.
I'm trying to think of an unlikely one. The White Templars?
No, Legion. Okay, yeah, Legion.
Oh, who they're successors of?
Yeah, that's what I'm
Okay. I thought you were saying they had a successor.
That I don't... Yeah, they have no known successor.
I stand by Night Lords, but as for another theory someone might have, I guess Luna Wolves?
Their unconfirmed successors are the Raven Guard.
Raven Guard. I could see it. Black eyes, cold, cool collection to the void. There's connections there. Yeah.
Yeah.
I can
And you have
see the
someone in
line
the-
of thinking.
You have someone in the chat, so I will go and I shall wait for you somewhere else. And we
Okay.
will play games later.
Okay. I'm streaming Street Fighter 6 at 3. I'm not restricting that to just me. I'm gonna be in a voice chat just in case people want to joke around and chat while I play that.
Be careful of Karn.
Okay. Does he hate it?
No, but it's Karn.
Right. Okay. Well, thanks for coming on, man.
Yeah, man. Glad to have you back from vacation, man.
I am glad to be back from vacation. I'm taking my vacation from vacation now. Tiki the Hut, how you doing? Welcome to the stream. How you doing? Hello? Hello?
Hey, what's going on?
Oh, there you go. Jeez. Welcome.
Did it go through?
Yeah, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Hey, sorry, not sure what's going on, but I'm getting a bit of a delay. It's probably about 10 seconds.
Is that from the stream or from Discord? I don't know if I'm also getting a delay. Like, yeah. Check your audio settings. Technical errors. And I just told him in the Discord to check his output audio. Because that's normally what people forget to check with Discord, especially if they don't use Discord regularly. I've noticed a lot of people sometimes don't check it, and when like your computer gets updated, sometimes Discord automatically defaults everything, and oftentimes to the wrong devices.
There we go. I think that's a little bit better.
Alright, can you hear me?
Yes, sir. 5x5.
Alright, good. Well, welcome to the stream. How you doing?
Doing well. Sorry about that.
That's alright. So, what's your favorite chapter / warband?
So, I'm not gonna lie, it is the ultimate cheating answer, but hopefully you'll abide me. It's definitely the Death Watch. And that's the thing I was hoping to talk about, is if you could create your perfect kill team, you know, which chapter would you have where, you know, pulling what weapon or pulling what job?
Assumedly in a Death Watch setup.
Yeah.
I don't play kill team normally, so how many units typically would you be pulling for a game of kill team?
Oh, I apologize. Yeah, I forget it's the terminology. No, I meant I apologize. More like lore wise. Like if you had to set in lore, you know, a small kill team of Death Watch people, you know, which chapters would you put in that team? Which chapters do you think don't get along? Like, would you not want a salamander next to, you know, whatever chapter?
Oh, you're coming in here hitting me with a hard one. So, I'd probably have a salamander with a heavy flamer working alongside. What chapters would work together well? Because I can give you a list of ones that would hate to work with each other, but probably with an Imperial Fist sergeant or of a slightly higher rank than the others. Typically the leader of the given unit. I'd say an Imperial Fist. I hate to include them, but they do unfortunately work well with other chapters. An Ultramarine as the logistics / communication, the Vox communicator guy. I'd have an Ultramarine do that, because direct to logistics and communication would be their specialty. And they would work well with a Salamander, Heavy Flamer, and I think they would respect an Imperial Fist Sergeant enough to work with them. Probably a Blood Angel tactical marine / melee focused specialist. Probably a Blood Angel. The reason I would do a Blood Angel over something, let's say like a Space Wolf, is a Space Wolf would not do well to follow orders. Especially if the order was, don't charge that guy and rip him in two and chainsaw him to bits. So I think a Blood Angel would be, assuming the Black Rage isn't close to taking them over, would do better at following orders and obeying the logistical commands of their superiors. I guess I'd do one more. Who else would do good? And no, I was about to say no. That would not do well with the ones I've set up already. Fuck.
Yeah, see, that's kind of the fun of it. It's almost like building your own little Avenger squad, based upon the lore.
Yeah. Thinking. One more piece of the puzzle that would work well with the ones I've set up. Probably a Raven Guard sniper? Yeah, because Raven Guard, I don't think have any bitter relationships with the ones I've set up. I don't think they have a bad relationship with the Ultramarines, Blood Angels, or the Salamanders. I don't think anyone has a bad relationship with the Salamanders except for the Drukhari. Yeah, I'd go with a... I would definitely go with a Raven Guard sniper.
No Iron Hands in the mix?
No, but I'm also not a huge fan of the Iron Hands. I'd say if I added another guy to the unit, I'd say an Iron Hands. Probably. What role would he be? Probably an Apothecary. An Iron Hands Apothecary. Because if you're missing a limb, they'll probably just be like, here's a prosthetic. Mechanicus style.
Yeah, the team goes out, they come back, they're all Iron Hands one way or another.
Yep. So that if I had to add an Iron Hands, it would probably be as an Apothecary.
So you always find it interesting to see which way people lean as far as who they're going to appoint as the sergeant of the squad. Are they going to go, Imperial Fist? Or are they going to go Ultramarine? Or are they going to go Black Templar?
I don't think a Black Templar, at least in Black Templars, do not do well with other chapters because their hyper-religious fanaticism it's kind of like how a Krieg unit doesn't mix well with really any other regiment of the Astra Militarum. The way they do things is very much geared towards their fanaticism. Everything is about that, and it's like strategy, technique, approach in battle. All of those will not mesh well with a non-Krieg regiment. So that's like a closest example I could think of. The Black Templars, as a unit into and on themselves, they are one of the most effective chapters without a doubt. Especially since they don't obey the Codex Astartes, so they are not weakened by its limitations. But when they work with other chapters / legions, they don't mesh well, because their tactics don't work with virtually any other chapter, except maybe like Flesh Terrors. Like, they are not really good in that position. If we were talking about just the Black Templars, I'd say, that whole unit would be just perfect to go with. But we're talking about Kill Team, where there's a spice from every legion or chapter. And I think the setup I thought of, factoring in both how they would work with each other and with the tools at hand and the positions available, I think that's the best unit I could think of.
No, that works. I remember when I actually... I think I built a team for, I think it was 7th edition. I love the Corvus Blackstar. That was probably one of my favorite models. So I made a small team, and I used a lot of the sneaky beakies. I used a lot of Raven Guard. I just thought they were a perfect fit for Death Watch.
They do. I do think they fit the aesthetic of Death Watch pretty well. Yeah, I'd agree with Raven Guard being mixed in. Was like your majority of your kill team Raven Guard?
No, it's actually similar to how you laid out the Stalker pattern bolters. I want to say those were my Raven Guard. I'm trying to remember the rules about kitting them out. I remember the combi heavy bolter with flamers. Those were my Salamanders. I think the other heavy weapons were my Iron Hands. It gave no type of points. It was all just an aesthetic choice. But I think that's kind of how I kitted it out.
Nah, that's fair enough. That's fair enough. At the end of the day, looks cool is the most important rule of 40k, unless you're a really avid tournament goer. So, kill team, that's Loyalist. Do you have a favorite Chaos Warband / chapter or no?
Well, see, I'm not too familiar. That's the other question I had lined up. I'm not sure if I asked this question a while ago on a different video, but in your opinion, who is the least bad guy of the Traitor Legion? Like, who's just like, look, man, we're just here just trying to do our thing. I've always thought it was kind of the Night Lords. It's like, hey, we're trying to bring peace to the galaxy by terror. It stops wars pretty quick.
Who's the least bad? That's an interesting way to look at it. It would be between... I would say it's between... And I find it fascinating you chose Night Lords, because I consider them the opposite end of the spectrum. But I would consider it between the Death Guard and the Thousand Suns for being the least bad. But that's mainly because both joined Chaos unwillingly. Well, willingly, but not by any kind of devotion or want. More of they were given no other option. So coercion. The Death Guard joined Chaos because one member of the Death Guard tricked the entire Legion into going into Nurgle's realm, and they were all being tortured by his diseases until they relented and agreed to obey him. So, yeah, they, then again, though, they still chose to be traitors. That's something that they definitely chose. They chose to betray the Imperium and go against the Emperor of Mankind. But actually joining Chaos, that was really the fault of only one of them, who is a dickhead. That would be Typhus. Which is kind of tragic, because Typhus actually was a cool character here and there, but what happened with what he did to his own Legion and how he betrayed Mortarion, yeah, that was pretty bad. So I feel bad for them, because they were coerced. Next to them, the reason I say the Thousand Suns is the Thousand Suns didn't even want to turn traitor to the Emperor or to the Imperium. They were the victims of Horus's deceit and betrayal that the Emperor did not know at the time. He sent the Space Wolves to subdue Magnus and bring him back, but Horus instructed him to change that order to destroy them, to exterminate the Thousand Suns, because they were tainted by the warp. And Magnus, unfortunately, locked up and fucked up, which led to him having his back broken by Russ, and he had to retreat into the warp with his entire legion, which they were then converted into the Thousand Suns we know now, to worshippers of Tzeentch, effectively. So...
yeah, I'm sitting in the chat, and I've heard this before. I've heard people say Alpha Legion's probably, like, the most maybe misunderstood. And I remember Typhus, now that you mentioned it, I think he was in one of the books I read, one of the older Battlefleet Gothic books. I want to say it was either Relentless or Point Shadow. It was actually a pretty good battle, and I think he was the commander on one of the flagships.
Yeah, Alpha Legion is kind of a similar story, though here's the thing. Alpha Legion and Dark Angels, they're the most confusing, both on a moral conversation and on a lore conversation. They're the most confusing, and that's by design, because we don't know. Like, in the Alpha Legion's case, we don't know what Alpharius or Omegon were thinking. at any particular point. We don't really know what their goals were either. It's heavily suggested that their goal is actually in support of humanity and our survival by joining Chaos, which is the question mark. It's like I'm still not sure how that helps anything. But at the same time, it's also the whole, okay, are they actually part of Chaos, though, or is it all just one really long ploy? Which doesn't make sense to me either, considering everything that they've helped Chaos do. So, Alpha Legion's is kind of a weird conversation in terms of being the least bad. It depends on how you interpret what their goals are. I know some hardcore Alpha Legion standbyers who are like, oh, they are actually loyalists, they are actually the good guys. It's just they're playing the long game. I just don't see it. Like, that's not how I interpret it. They chose Chaos entirely of their own accord, and they're doing evil, horrific things in their name with no seeming support or good coming out of it in terms of humanity, unless I'm missing something. So that's where I stand with the Alpha Legion.
You don't think the Night Lords are just a little misunderstood? Too many trips to Hot Topic?
Filleting people and cutting their heads off and dropping them from orbit onto the civilians that they're trying to get to submit to their will. Yeah, no. I think they're pretty firmly the bad guys. They're so bad, in fact, that no specific Chaos God wants them. They're that fucked up and crazy. They were already kind of horrible as loyalists, so being traitor is just worse. So, no, I don't think they're misunderstood.
I was gonna say, now in real world concept, yeah, no, but like in the Terror, Grimdark, and the 40K, I could kind of see their mathematical logic behind it. Like, yeah, you publicly, execute in so many ways, and it kind of keeps the whole planet in line. Overall, they might be killing less than, let's say, another chapter went down there and started killing the majority of the population to take over the planet. They're doing more public terror versus actual engagement.
If you look at it that way, I guess they are less evil than some, but you compare them to a loyalist faction that subdued worlds prior to the heresy, like the Imperial Fists. They did it, or the Luna Wolves before Horus was corrupted by Chaos. They subdued worlds without even having to do terror tactics. They didn't have to do anything like that at all. They didn't even have to really kill anybody. Like, entire sections of space were conquered by Horus by words. He didn't even kill anybody. Same with the Imperial Fists. And they would establish worlds and keep them under submission by simply just setting up some basic infrastructure from the Imperium as a whole. Like, they were able to keep worlds under control without terror tactics. In many ways, I would make the argument that Conrad Kurz and the Night Lords were lazy in their approach to subduing worlds, because instead of trying to subdue them with any kind of political savviness, it was all done via terror. It's just scare the shit out of them until they submit. So, yeah. I'd say even within the grimdark sci-fi universe of the far future, they were still pretty fucking bad before being traitors.
All right, I see you got some more callers waiting, so I'll hit you with one last question. So, can you think, whatever cataclysmic event would happen, what are the two chapters, loyalist and traitor chapters that you think would most likely end up working together? What do you think massive event would cause that?
A massive event to cause the traitors and loyalists to work together?
Yeah, even just one of the chapters, like maybe the Alpha Legion and, Raven Guard or something like that.
The Tyranids.
I think we'll see that in 10th?
I think it can certainly work if the writers want to use that, but the Tyranids have always represented a mutual threat. And it's kind of similar to how the Orcs represent a mutual threat, but the difference is Orcs are, even within the universe, kind of comical as a threat. They are an actual one, but it's less scary than being eaten alive, because they do take slaves, they do take prisoners. There's less fear going into a fight with Orcs than going against Tyranids. And the Tyranids, they affect the warp, they cause some fuckery, they make it so the Traitor Legions can't use the full might of their powers, and again, they contribute to their biomass and to their power if their gene seeds are taken. So, I would say they'd have to very carefully write this through and really set up a scenario properly where the traitors wouldn't just leave the loyalists to fight the Tyranids and then take on whoever's left. They would have to force them into a situation where they're both stuck there, having to fight them. And even then, it's a lot. But I'd say the two that if I had to pick between any of the traitors and the loyalists, I'd say the word bearers. Maybe not. No, I'll take that back. Probably the Ultramarines and the Black Legion.
I did not see that coming. I did not see the Ultramarines coming.
Yeah, because the Ultramarines, don't get me wrong, like all loyalists, I'll give them this much credit. They are not willing to work with Chaos virtually on any level. That's why this question's kind of hard to answer as a whole, because I can't think of any loyalists that would be open to working with Chaos. They all have a deep-seated hatred for them on the level of, well, if I'm fucked, I'm just happy you're going with me. But from the slimmest sliver that I can think of, I can see the Ultramarines and the Black Legion working together to stave off a Tyranid invasion. Not, like, truly working together, though. It'd be more like, let's deal with this mutual issue as best we can, and then we'll kill each other immediately after. Like, to call it a tenuous alliance would be kind. And even then, this is a very big if.
All right, man. That's all I got for you. Thanks for letting me come on. I appreciate it. Sorry for the audio problems early on, but I appreciate it, man.
No problem. Thank you for coming on. I appreciate you coming on. I also appreciate the super chat from earlier. Thanks so much.
Anytime, buddy. Take it easy.
Take it easy. Alright, so I have 3 callers ready, but real quick, Lotus has been saying stuff in the chat and I haven't been able to read it. To be fair, Slanesh would love Night Lords, especially on a hot topic planet. I don't disagree. Let me scroll up. Thousand Suns didn't choose Chaos to become traitors, so by your own argument... Wait, what? Yeah, I said that. What? Lotus, check your headphones. I said that. Space Wolves, worst traitors and smelliest of the furries. I have a lot I could say and reply to that, but I have people coming on, so that's a bit loaded. We'll have a talk later. To be fair, Slanesh would love Night Lords, especially on a hot topic planet. I already read that. My apologies. Yes. I'd argue that Night Lords pre-heresy had a much lower body count than Ultramarines. Yes, but again, it's not just about the body count. It's about the tactics chosen. I'd agree with you. Listen, I hate the Ultramarines too, but to be fair, the Ultramarines did at least try the diplomatic approach. They just didn't bother in scenarios where it wasn't practical. The Night Lords, on the other hand, didn't even bother. It was purely chop, 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 chop. Like, let's just use this one approach for everything. They saw the whole terrorizing and causing fear as the do-it-all like tool, like the Swiss Army knife shit. Like they saw it like this is a key for every single thing. They basically saw it as the Allen wrench, an Allen wrench inside of an IKEA shop. Okay, it's like terror, 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 terror. Don't fix it if it ain't broke. They actively chose the most horrific methods to keep worlds into submission when they could have chosen other methods. So, actively speaking, the Night Lords, I argue, are the worst. And real quick, remember when they skinned a population, including children, for daring to have a settlement? I remember. Orcs will also eat and torture you. True, but it's not anywhere near as bad as the Tyranids. Like the Orcs, you have a chance of being just a slave that they won't eat. A chance. Tyranids, you have no chance. You are solely food. Carcharodons and Night Lords. Good choice. Alright, so now let's move on. Alright, Trip, can you hear me?
Yes. Let me just turn you off.
Like,
Yeah.
I had to hold back a joke there.
Oh,
Welcome. So, what's your favorite Loyalist chapter and Chaos Warband?
the thing was, weird thing is, I never really thought about it that Grey Knights.
Okay.
I'm sorry, I like psychic powerhouses. And
So-
it's
Do I take it then that your traitor choice is the Thousand
Yeah.
Suns?
yeah.
Ah, okay. Yeah,
And
yeah.
if, you know,
Oh, go ahead, sorry.
if any legion would probably try to get back, it'd probably be the Thousand Suns. Due to technicality, like I noticed that you kind of left them out of the whole loop thing of. Possibly, you didn't mention them about them possibly coming back. I think that's what the other person was mentioning.
Who coming back? Sorry.
The Thousand Suns be coming back to Loyalist.
I have no idea when that never came up. I'm very confused.
No, you were like talking about that maybe I didn't hear it correctly. It was like helping to fight Tyranids. Okay,
Oh, that question?
yeah. My bad.
I
Never
mean,
mind.
that is a scenario that could happen, but I still think it's pretty unlikely.
Yeah, because you know because the actually completely rational, mind-numbing hatred.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, you really can't say it's actually not rational to go full Black Templar on anything that might even look like chaos.
Yeah, that. The thing is, the Black Templars, they're unique in how hard they go on stuff. But, yeah, pretty much everything loyal. The real problem there, when we talk about the Thousand Suns in this case, in my opinion, the real problem would not be with the Thousand Suns. I can actually see them being willing to work with the Loyalists to fight a mutual threat. The problem is, I can't really... Yeah, I really can't think of any of the loyal... Even the Ultramarines that would be willing to work with them, because the Thousand Suns specifically, there's a lot more baggage between all of them and the Thousand Suns. Like, if we're talking about willingness from their front, I can see it. But it's no matter what pairings we do, it's really hard sell, because we have numerous examples in the lore where they have had the opportunity to work together, and they haven't. Like, they'd rather let the other one be fucked over.
The only time it once happened was Imperial Fist and the Imperial Fists actually worked with Iron Warriors, but that was during that one book series that no one really respects.
Yeah, I don't respect it, personally, especially with that pairing. That is... That's kind of like having the Black Templars work with the World Eaters. It doesn't sound right, does it? It's like, in what scenario, what horrific scenario would you have to set up for that pairing to work together? It's just, the Imperial Fists and the Iron Warriors, they would rather let the universe burn than work together. So for me, I just, there's no scenario I see that happening.
Okay, back to the two favorites, at least at my end.
Yeah.
Describing them. Like I said, and of course, you know, the specialists with the Grey Knights with fighting demons.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, here's the thing. The Dread Knight, I actually think it looks cool. I know most people don't think that, but I think I personally like the look of it.
The look of the Grey Knights?
Well, no, the Dread Knight thing.
Wait, you talking about the baby carrier?
Yes.
Ah! I mean, you like the look of it? Seriously?
Okay. Yeah, it looks like a baby carrier, but it's obviously just a skeletal harness plus. Like,
yeah, but it's so silly looking. I'm sorry.
Okay, but dreadnoughts are not.
No, they're not. Not by comparison. No.
Okay, the freaking poster that walks
At least it's a box.
compared to the thing that actually looks like a bipedal.
Right, it's a box though. It's like something's actually contained within it, so you can actually, buy the way that it looks. With something just hanging out there, it's such a vulnerable shot. Sorry.
okay,
I
that
can
is a
definitely
bit-
take
okay.
one more seriously than the other.
Okay, that is true. The person should definitely be heavily armored.
Yeah, it's the vulnerability I think that
Yeah.
most people find silly, and that's why it got the nickname the baby carrier.
Yeah.
Though
okay,
objectively, it functions the same as a dreadnought.
just better arms and obviously better for melee.
Yeah, like I'd say don't feel too alone with people thinking that sucks though, because you got to feel bad for Sisters of Battle players. Because what's that new battle suit that they have where they're basically exposed as well?
Yeah.
Like that.
There was this old one that was a Penitence engine.
Yeah, that one made
There was that too.
sense from the aspect of like the person's supposed to be vulnerable because of like
Of course,
penitence.
that goes to the Imperium preferring insanity over pragmatism.
Yeah. But that's why I can't say I like the look of it. It's just
Well, at least
the
they're in
exposure.
Terminator armor, so it's not that they're undefended.
Yeah.
But yeah, a little more defense, because I mean, they can get it. They're literally in a power harness. That you can add more weight.
Yeah, you can. All right,
But,
so it's mostly so you like the usage of psychic abilities and you
Yeah.
like the aesthetic of the armor.
Oh yeah, no. Oh, of course the wrist-mounted guns. Useful, especially when you're so predicated on melee that you probably want a big two-handed weapon.
Right. Yeah.
That
a
lot of useful things they have.
Yeah, it's true. I find it interesting the angle of which you're approaching the enjoyment of the Grey Knights, though, because normally when I think of like people who love the Grey Knights, it's usually the characters. Like, if I'm not mistaken, as
Well, I kind of like to sometimes think of myself as a rank and file soldier, not as the character itself, but.
oh no,
I
what I'm
understand
talking about though is like I don't think it's people.
characteristics.
Yeah, I don't think it's
Like,
people thinking of themselves as the characters. It's just the lore wrapped up in them makes the greater faction more interesting.
Oh,
Like
one
Calder
thing
Drago or
Yeah,
Nathaniel Garrow or any of the,
True. Okay, true. Oh wait, well, one lore tidbit was old that I can't like is like they're like, hey, Eldar, we literally found a bunch of spirit stones after a demon attack. Here you go.
right?
That was the thing. They
Yeah.
gave what?
No, go ahead. Sorry.
That was it. I was
Okay.
shortening it as possible, but they literally gave back spirit stones, and no, they weren't the ones for killing the Eldar. It was something else. So
Yeah,
Like-
a level of heroism and a very unheroic.
it's true, but I'm 90% sure it's like demons are gonna want this stuff. So
Yeah.
like they were allegedly very polite about it, but it's like I'm pretty sure it was demons want these souls. We don't want the demons to have them.
Yeah, I mean that's most of 40K right there is that kind of. It's not really about helping you. It's about helping me by helping you.
Yeah.
The enemy of my enemy is my friend. Effectively.
They should really practice that more.
So
Especially especially the Eldar. They're probably the biggest offenders of it.
right. So,
Okay.
would the Thousand Sons be similar in terms of like why you like them? It's the psychic stuff, but it's also the aesthetic.
Yeah.
Or is it more characters for them? Okay, so it is.
Okay. Mostly, yes, I admit it's just the psychic stuff, but
Right.
and it is kind of sad that and it's, but hey, it does showcases Tzeentch's nature truly. Like with Magnus, this was a meticulously planned snatch.
Gotcha.
Like, hey, that you have to admit that was a meticulously planned capture he did there.
Yeah, I can agree.
Of course, hilarity. Like, I wonder what his thought of how he basically just how the Emperor handed Angron to the ruinous powers in less than 5 minutes.
Well, Emps did a lot of inconsistent shit in the books, and that was certainly, the
Yeah,
whole
it's like-
whole writing around the world.
Yeah, true. Okay, I'm sorry, but I'm just saying it's like, I mean, okay, I guess I'm getting off topic, but oh boy, you know what? The World Eaters, another faction you can't exactly blame on themselves.
No, but it's one of those things where all of the traders, to a degree, are, not fully responsible for where things led to. There was a lot of circumstances amongst the loyalists that led them to making the decision they did. But
True.
the World Eaters, I think, is the worst one to make this argument with, especially with the choice of most of the sons of Angron choosing to put the butcher's nails in their heads, and the choice of actions during the Crusade when they were supposedly loyalist.
Okay.
It's one of those things where, yes, the core of what led them to it.
Angron. Well, it's more to Angron himself.
Yeah, a lot of it was not his fault.
Yeah.
But that doesn't change
here's
the choices made.
Well, true, but you have to admit, he was literally fighting the nails. He was the guy being filled with nothing but anger and still being willing to give up his blood to feed people. That is literally one of the most noble souls you could think of, and less than 5 minutes, the Emperor messed that up.
I think the Emperor made it worse, but the Butcher's Nails by that point were already making him a worse person. Like, I think if you want to go to the core of what turned Angron into the worst part of himself, it was definitely the Butcher's Nails. The Emperor made it way worse, but the core problem was the thing drilling into his skull.
Yeah. Okay, back to our actual topic.
Well, I think that kind of
move on. Fair enough.
I think that kind of does it for, unless you have something else you want to say about the Thousand Sons or the Grey Knights.
No, but I admit I'm just a psyker junkie.
Okay, I can't blame you. They're cool. But thank you so much for coming on. I'm gonna pull in the next guest, but thank you for telling me about your favorite warband and chapter. Have a good one.
Yep.
All right. Real check. Homeless Stone, welcome to the stream. I'm now pulling in the next caller. Homeless Stone, how are you?
I am doing fine. Hello, my friend. How are you this fine day?
I'm doing pretty good. How about you?
I am doing okay. I woke up about an hour ago and I had my coffee. Feeling good.
Good, good. Black
So-
or creamer?
Oh, creamer. I don't deny this. I'm a Warhammer fan. I'm a basic bitch.
Fair enough.
So, question of favorite chapter and or warband.
Yep.
So I do not collect Space Marines. I'm going to be honest here.
Fair enough.
I am a Custody player, first and foremost. I like gold. And obviously, I do play Chaos, though, so I play Emperor's Children, so there's my Chaos side. But as far as Loyalists go, I've been really digging Carcharodons.
Oh, now we got 3. So,
yeah, well, for me, aside from Tiberius, of course, everybody loves the big boy. You can't deny that.
Yeah, which unfortunately they got rid of his model recently.
Yeah, that made me mad. That turned me off from ever wanting to make a Space Marine army because I'm like, well, screw that. No rules.
You can find an STL of him. I found one,
yeah.
but unfortunately the official model is now gone.
Yeah, no, I got the Shark Daddy STL from Major Kill.
Good,
yeah.
good.
No, I've been really enjoying the Carcharodons because they're not a flashy chapter. They're get in, get your shit done, get out. And I like that about them. Now, don't get me wrong, of course, everybody loves salamanders for obvious reasons.
The
And
least
I
shitty
know-
people amongst the very shitty people.
Yeah, like we all, I think all of any Space Marine fan would be like, nah, the salamanders are kind of the best people. They get a pass. But no, the Carcharodons, they don't do anything needlessly, at least from what I have seen and or read.
They do still use terror. They do use terror tactics
Yes.
during combat.
Yes, they do use some, but it's not like it's not on the Night Lord's level of
Not quite.
that's
No.
all they do. You know, like they still do. They're still about. They can do quick assassinations. They can do the big siege if they need to.
The brutally efficient or coldly efficient is how I usually describe the Carcharodons.
Yeah, they're not a scalpel
No.
in any shape or form.
They're kind of like a slightly rusted dagger.
Yeah. Now, I understand a little bit where the last guy was coming from with the Dread Knight, as I said in chat. I do not like it either personally, but it does remind me of the old mech suit from The Matrix. I think it's the second movie.
Yeah,
Where-
this is where you're not going to really win. I don't know if your goal is to win me over a little bit with that, but I always thought those looked stupid too, to be quite honest.
No, those are extremely stupid, but
It's
I
just
understand why some people would.
For me, it's the same thing like with my actual like minis, like my normal Space Marines. I hate it when they have no helmets. Like I can't, if I have the choice for a model to have a helmet on, I put the helmet on. Like
Yeah,
I don't like the idea of the exposure. I get like this is the whole argument between people who like practicality versus the cool factor. It's like yes, like being in a big mech suit, which you can visibly operate it kind of like the power loader from Alien, right? That's a cool association aesthetic. The problem is the moment you think about it from the practical aspect.
Yeah, why is there no shielding up front?
Yeah, there's a
I
sitting
agree,
duck right there.
Yeah, aim for center mass. I agree. That is the goal.
So yeah.
But yeah. And as far as traders go, Emperor's Children. I mean, come on. There's just something so much fun about being the troll of the universe. About being the one group who fights the Imperium and yells back at the Imperium for the Emperor.
Yep. Plus
Yeah.
the Noise Marines.
Yeah, and those models are so cool. Both versions, both 30K and K. I really enjoy the sculpts. The Cacophony is amazing. I'm thinking about picking up some for my own army because I already have the base Noise Marines, but Cacophony would be pretty cool.
Oh yeah.
And then of course Fulgrim's Fall. I enjoyed the shit out of that book.
Yeah. This is where I agree with you. This is where you and I agree. I like the Fulgrim book, and I defend it. The problem is the good chunk of the community actually really dislike the Fulgrim book because of how quote unquote quickly he fell.
Yeah, no, and that is understandable. I can see why people want a more long burn story.
It also doesn't help that it's unlike a lot of the other traders where they already had an established predisposition to their fall from their core backstory because they already didn't like the Emperor or the Imperium or both. Like Angron, he already didn't like the Emperor or the Imperium. Mortarion, he already hated the Emperor for stealing his kill. In the case of the Emperor's Children, Fulgrim actually had the opposite backstory. He was far more dedicated and obsessed with the Emperor and the Imperium than most. So his fall is all the more kind of questionable with just how he fell.
Yep, and I think that's why I've enjoyed them the most. And I mean, there's just something funny about being in this universe of insanity, blood, gore, and everything, and you're running around in the color pink.
Yeah. Well, purpley pink, yeah.
Purplish pink. Well, I paint mine black and pink because I like that contrast.
So works.
Yeah. But I can't wait until the Fulgrim model. That is going to be insane to paint.
The official snake one we've been waiting forever for, right?
Yeah. Yeah, it's going to be insane to paint.
I hope it's in
already know.
plastic. I'm kind of fearful that they're going to do it in resin, but
Yeah, I agree with you. That is a fear.
so far with the traders, they've been pretty good. Like Magnus is in plastic, Mortarian's in plastic, so ideally Fulgrim will be in plastic. But I've been unsurprised before.
Is Angron resin? I haven't seen his model personally.
I'm pretty sure Angron's plastic. I haven't gotten his model, so I can't say. I think Angron model.
Yeah, unfortunately, there's no World Leaders players at my local game store right now, so.
He is in plastic.
He is in plastic? Okay,
Yeah.
so there's hope for Fulgrim then that'll be in plastic.
Oh yeah, I mean if they could make Angron plastic, they can definitely make Fulgrim plastic.
Yeah. Now, if we're going on to like my secondary choices, I enjoy the hell out of the Flesh Terrors in Loyalists.
Good choice.
And then Chaos, I'm an Angron fanboy at the end of the day. I enjoyed his story too. But I understand why people say, no, Angron's kind of stupid. Yeah, he's kind of stupid. I don't deny this.
I really do think that, and again, from a lore perspective, and this is where I blame the writer more than I blame the story. Because sometimes, you know, a good writer can write an uncompelling thing. Mm-hmm. And mainly because of like the constraints of the setting or the world or the universe or just how people are in its pre-established universe. This is not one of those cases.
Yeah.
This is a case of the writers really just didn't know what to do with Angron, in my opinion. Like they knew he was the angry boy. That was how he was established aesthetically.
Yeah.
They just didn't know how to set it up, in my opinion, in a compelling enough way that he's still an interesting character after everything's all said and done.
Yeah. No, I understand that, and I feel that. I think what really solidified it, Angron, for me, though, is his speech with Rabute. The courage and honor, and he spits at him. I'm like, ooh, Angron, tell his ass.
Yeah, that is one of those rare good exchanges with Angron in the story, and with that one, that's a good shadow of what they could have done with his character, more so.
Yeah.
That I think they failed to do.
If they had more writing of the bitter, pissed off Primarch, like just pissed at the fact that he could have been so much more.
But not just pissed, but actually thinking about why he's angry and justifying it. And yeah, I think that would have been far more interesting and compelling if they had stuck with it.
Well, I hope they get their heads out of their asses and do a little bit of that with current Angron, but who knows?
I hope, but I'm not putting my money down on that one.
Yeah. And as far as helmets go, I agree with you.
Yeah.
Characters, Space Marines, no matter how, I don't care who you are. If your faction has helmets, wear your damn helmets.
Yeah, it feels weird for them to be helmetless because it's just as much as yes, cool. You could paint their hair, paint cool eyeballs on them, and give them this really cool aesthetic. From an art standpoint, I get it. But the problem is we are playing a war game, and we have to contextualize that each of these little models we're playing on the tabletop with, and you are supposed to be simulating a fight. So in reality, would you want a bunch of your soldiers going on to the field of battle, fully armored in some of the most badass shit imaginable, but the most important part of their body is exposed?
All I'm seeing is the one training scene from Starship Troopers.
Exactly. Thank you. That's exactly it. That's the problem. It's like that's
Are you
where we
trained
wear
with the
helmets.
appropriate thing for the helmets? No, sir. Stop doing it.
It's just, yeah, exactly. Like it's just no.
And the only ones I can see getting away with it are like without helmets, Custodes. Just because there's that one moment in the lore where the motherfucker gets his dome rocked and he's still alive and staring at the motherfucker in anger.
Yeah.
And then there is, and I'm okay with Primarchs not having their helmets all the time. Just from a cinematic style point of view when I game.
Yeah, I do give the Primarchs a pass, but it's also, yes, it's from the cinematic aspect, but it's also in lore. There's even more fast, strong, and regenerative than most of the other.
Yeah, a headshot from a dinky pistol isn't gonna do too much to a Primarch. Yeah.
Yeah, I with a Primarch, it's not established in the lore, but I always picture if they were to get shot in the head by, like, let's say an Orc Shuda, it would either bounce off or it would immediately heal.
Yeah, or it would be just such minor damage, like the smallest of scratches that just instantly heals right after. Yeah.
I will say though, with the new Lion model, I actually think he looks better. Like the model looks better with the helmet on.
I enjoyed all the heads in all honesty. Each option was a good pick. I understand why people don't like just normal open head. But I'm okay with the hood, I'm okay with the helmet, and I'm okay with the helmet and hood.
I like the helmet and hood the most, I think.
Yeah. Which he's probably, out of the Primarchs, he is probably my favorite Primarch, and I'm really happy that the model looks good.
Yeah, I'm actually, that's something I said, like, in the video where I both the video and the stream where I watched the reveals for that. I stand by my statement that I think the aesthetic of the model looks fantastic.
Yeah.
I'm just worried about what the lore is going to do.
Yeah, that model feels like the Lion, and I'm willing to see what they do with the lore. At the very least, because I enjoyed the Lion book. And yeah. But I think that's pretty much it.
I appreciate you coming on, man. Thank you.
Most definitely. Thank you for having the discussion. You have a good one, my friend.
You as well. Alright, bring in Afiel. Hello. Can you hear me?
Second. I need to turn you off.
You and everybody else today.
Yeah, how are you?
I'm doing pretty good. I just got back from vacation, and I am happy to not be on vacation anymore. How are you?
Was vacation so bad?
It was long. It was also the weather was terrible the entire time, so.
Okay. No, I was just thinking about some stuff, and I get why many people, for example, like the Kakarodons. The only thing that I ever was thinking about is sometimes they feel like a weird mix between the Night Lords and the Raven Guard, some kind of Chimera gene seed or something like that. But that would have been something from the Cursed Founding, you know?
Yeah, that'd be a Cursed Founding thing. I still stand by my. I think they're Night Lord successors.
Yeah, they are kind of Night Lords, Raven Guard-ish. I mean, but more like in the department of the Raven Guard, because I remember when we played the Badab War in my local game store, it was like, can you just be not so cringe all the time? And like murder, death, terror, death, murder, terror. Yeah, but like, for example, if you go for the thing, that my most favorite chapter would be the Blood Angels. First and foremost,
I guessed.
No, it's my first Warhammer miniature that I ever got was from my grandfather, and it was also like back then the old metal Blood Angel captain that almost looked like a weird mix between Dante and Captain Tycho.
Yeah, I know the one you're talking about.
Back then, my army coffer, they weighed like 100 kilos or something.
100 kilos.
I mean, it was like Furioso Dreadnought. This was the old Ball Predator, Death Company in metal.
Yeah, I only have like 2 or 3 metal minis in total, so my army weighs like nothing.
But I remember one funny story when there was like when they had like these segmented plates for the game table in Games Workshop, and a friend of mine was like, "Hey, you can use your old minis and stuff," and I said, "Yeah, cool, why not?" And then I put my old Dreadnought on the table, and like this like quartered table plate almost like flipped because the Dreadnought was too heavy for the plastic plates.
Okay. So
Yeah, it was just funny because everyone was like, "Oh fuck, what's that?" And there were like younger people around and be like, "Wait, there were metal miniatures somewhere in the time?" And I said, "Yep, there was a time when there was only metal."
when I think I've only heard that once, like someone say, "Oh, there were metal minis." I find that most people, once they join the hobby, they look into the past of it and they know like what things used to be.
I mean, like they were like really young, like 13 years old or something.
Oh,
like
okay. So like a kid being introduced to it by like a parent.
I guess it was the dad of that guy. Yeah,
Okay.
but like for example, I mean, Blood Angels is always like this, like the permanent and constant struggle with your inner beast and with your like with the bad side that you constantly have to suppress and fight against. And maybe in some regard it reminds me a little bit of the struggle that Guts had in Berserk most of the times. Like the inner struggle, the complete abandonment of sanity and reason, and the constantly coming back from the edge of madness.
I mean, yeah, that's an interesting concept, especially with if it's approached in a creative way. Like the rotation between sanity and madness. Like I usually like think of that story archetype in a visual medium. I don't know if I could just write about it and describe it.
It would be easier like in a manga or in like an anime or something, or like a, but not like this half-assed moving picture thing that GW pulls with their Warhammer Plus stuff. This like animate me brother when like the Dreadnought is like moving one leg per picture or something.
Yeah, we don't. Warhammer Plus has been a shit show. It still is. I like the people I find who defend that are crazy, to be quite frank. Like the arguments for it and the claim that all of it's so good, and so I was subscribed to it for a whole month. I watched pretty much everything. Nothing was well animated. Like the term good or talented or well done is not found in at all on that entire website. I don't get it. Like Astartes is the only thing on there that I would describe as even industry quality, and it was made without their assistance or aid whatsoever.
I think that, what was it, the Blood Angel thing, the Angels of Death, it was more like on the Hell's Reach level.
Yeah, there wasn't much improvement, and I hate to say that because I know that the guy who worked on it was the same guy who worked on Hell's Reach. But the thing is, again, when you put something behind a paywall, you now have said, I don't care how little the paywall is, you are asking for money for it. People are now going to judge it based on it costing money, which means they're going to compare it to other things that charge them money, regardless of how much. Like, plenty of people don't like being parted with their cash. It doesn't matter how much or how little. So if you ask for money, people are now going to compare it to things on the level of Pixar. They're going to compare it to the things on the level of basic television animation. They're going to compare it to things that cost them money. And as much as people who want to defend this shit will decry, oh, well, that's not fair. You can't compare it to Pixar. You can't compare it to the bigger animation. Okay, if they don't want it compared to that, don't ask for money. It's as simple as that for a lot of people. You ask for money, it's going to be compared to other things that cost money, regardless of what the number on the cash price is. And that's...
I mean, at the moment you go into the swimming pool of paid like TV services, you will be compared to, I don't know, Netflix, HBO, Amazon. And at least they have a modicum of stuff you can watch sometimes.
They have much bigger libraries.
Yeah, I mean, some stuff that, for example, Netflix produces, like in their own department, is a little bit cringe for my personal taste.
Yeah. I can't blame you. But anyway, back on topic. So
yeah, but for example, like the Chaos Warband, I would say I would love to have like a redemption arc either for Peter Turbo. Just let him build palaces and nice stuff at some point, you know.
Peter Turbo.
I mean, for example, there were good Iron Warriors, and I would love to see like a. I mean, Belisarius Coil at this point did for sure make Traitor Gene Z Primaris chapters.
Those have been like the two popular ones today. Carcharodons and Iron Warriors, when I think about it.
I mean, I get it. The Iron War thing is like, from what I recall, is like he's hard and emotionless, and the Iron Thought is like a little bit of mental, like humanity on the inside, but has a really hard shell.
Yeah.
And for example, like one of the best characters in the Heresy was Barnabas Dantiok. If you ask me.
I'll give you amongst
he's
the best.
not on the level of Garrow from what I like about him, but it's he and what was it? Alexis Pollux had a really nice, like, coming together story when they were like Iron Warriors and Imperial Fists that like each other. I mean, it's like nitroglycerin and shaking, and then it doesn't go off like instantly.
Yeah, it's not a pairing I can see, and it kind of goes against the pre-established lore a lot to try and get them to get along.
I mean, and for example, what also would be funny when you get like the Sons of the Phoenix, that's totally an Iron and an Imperial Fist chapter, with all the almost looking like the Emperor's children when they were loyal. That you get a loyal Fulgrim clone and the traitor Fulgrim Primarch at the same time, and be like, so Emperor's children, you have a loyal one and a not loyal one. Have fun, and watch for the sonic boom that comes from the reeing. I mean, what was it? Trazyn had like a perfect cloned Fulgrim in his collection or something?
Yeah, it's the perfect clone. I believe it was Fabius Bio who actually made the clone. But the clone is a perfect clone of Fulgrim, but minus his Chaos Corruption.
Yeah, it would be fun.
Yeah.
to see Gilliman and the Lion sitting in the same room, and suddenly like a perfectly not corrupted Fulgrim walks in and like, oh.
Yeah, so. Problem is I don't see I think the Black Library forgot about that shit. Like, I don't think any of the authors in the entirety of the Black Library remember that exists, that there is a loyalist alive clone.
They also destroyed kinda a little bit like the corruption of Fulgrim when they had like this, what was the short story, the Broken Mirror?
Yeah.
I hated that one. I liked the Fulgrim book, but I hated the Broken Mirror.
Yeah, I can see why. I think I know a lot of people who hate the Broken Mirror.
And I mean, for like the returning Primarchs, personally, I like the design of, for example, the Lion. And what was it in like the book?
He aged terribly.
Yeah, he looks like the Tyrion Lannister's father from Game of Thrones. What was the guy's name?
Tywin Lannister. Yeah.
Yeah, he looks like.
People have also said he looks like the Onion Knight. Sir. Fuck.
I mean, yeah, but for example,
Stannis. I can't remember his name.
The thing is, I can't imagine Games Workshop making Angron anything like beside anything other than Rage Quit.
Yeah.
Because in the Axe of Omen, when the Lion fought against Angron, he was like, how can I make him even more angry? And Angron was just completely batshit insane at this point, because the thing that I want to kill does not die. It makes me even more angry. Bah! And then he just started tackling and crushing into everything just to bring like the entire building down where they're fighting on. It was just like completely nuts. And I can't think that anyone would take the book, take a book where Angron has like a coherent thought, or other like me smash something.
I mean, that's most of his story is me smash.
Yeah, it would be, it would be ask too much from the Black Rival authors to make him like an interesting character.
Yeah,
more interesting.
Again, there's like you think the upside with a lot of the amount of fucking writers they have. I think on a previous stream I counted off the number of writers. Like, it was like 52 or something like that. There's a shit ton of writers and authors for Black Library. And you think the one benefit from having so many chef syndication is at least you get some cool variety in how they handle a character. Problem is, with a lot of the characters that are memed on the most in this setting, we have maybe one interpretation of them that is not shit. Like Angron, for example. We have like 1 or 2 occasions where he's actually shown to be a character with more complex thought than me Smash. But with all those writers, the one consistency, I guess you could say, with him is that he is just the Hulk.
I mean, just think about Gilliman and the Ultramarines. It took, like, what's the entire heresy to give Gilliman personality? Because when I started playing Warhammer, the Ultramarines were like, oh, we're the Ultramarines, we're the perfect guys in everything. Ugh. And the spacebook says this and that. The spacebook over here, and then like in Indomitus Hero, Gilliman brought back the theoreticals and the practicals, and every Ultramarine starts thinking for themselves at the first time in ages. I mean, besides Captain Ventress.
I mean, I point this out every time we like talk about like the positives or negatives or whatever we talking about when it comes to the Ultramarines, and I'll do it again. Most people's favorite non-Primarch Ultramarine related character is Titus from the Space Marine game. Yep. And he is the least Ultramarine of all time, which I find funny that people will quote him as being like a good example of how great the Ultramarines are when he's not an Ultramarine by most accounts.
I mean, the most lore, like in universe character that's a little bit like Titus would be Ventress from the 4th Company.
Yeah.
I mean, he was sent on a penitence crusade for you didn't adhere to the spacebook.
Yeah. And if you want to look like in that very same game, the most accurate representation of Ultramarines is ironically Leandros, everyone's least favorite character from that game. So you want to look at the quintessential Ultramarine, that's it.
Yeah. I know, I mean, the same thing happened when I got, like, this month, my birthday present, I got the first founding chapter book, the blue one, and it was so hilarious because there were some parts inside of it, and I sent some pictures to a friend of mine that maybe you also know. He was like, so how many people have a hissy fit when they read this part where the word text like, the Thunder Warriors are all male, the Space Marines are all boys when they get recruited and stuff like that. And it was just hilarious.
Yeah.
I mean, at the same time, I would love to see something Thunder Warrior-ish in 40k, like a weird time warp, I don't know, warband.
I don't know if I want to see the thing is, I think the Thunder Warriors are fine being left in the past and no longer existing. I don't really feel the need, like, maybe if they did a story of them back in the day when they actually were a thing during the wars on Earth for supremacy, maybe that would be interesting. But to see them, bringing them to the 41st millennium though, or even 30k, I don't know. I don't want them brought back. We already have so much shit with the Space Marines and now Primaris, which I fucking hate. I really don't want them to muddy the waters more with yet another different power scaled.
Yeah, or for example, something like that's like in the aesthetic of the Thunder, because I thought some of their stuff was really cool looking. But yeah, most of the times I like the new stuff. Most of the times, I can't bring myself to read the book about the Lion, the Black Library book, because I know who wrote that book.
Who?
Mike Brooks. And that's always like I read one book from that guy, and I was glad that my local GW game store boss was so nice and said, yeah, let's refund that book. I also read it, and it was a little bit shit.
Yeah.
So it was like, get the book here. You have like a gift card and get something better.
Yeah. Well, I have on 2 more callers. Well, technically 3, but I'm not pulling
I have
Trip into
just a short question.
Oh, okay. Good.
Can I send you something? Because this month there was a guy who made super cool bits designs for Warhammer miniatures, and he went out of business, and now he searches for like better business like capabilities, how to get this stuff out.
Sure.
Just maybe you can take a look about it, because the guy made like something that many people would like. He made like a 3D styled Lamentus shoulder pads with the checkboard and the bleeding heart. And everyone who tries freehand painting knows how much of a shit that one is. Like blending the bleeding heart and the checkerboard.
Yeah, go ahead. Send it.
But yeah, he searches for like other possibilities how to.
Hold on, there's someone outside my. I will be right back, guys. I'm sorry.
Mm-hmm. So I thought like raccoon bear or a puma or something.
Nope, just my cousin being loud and obnoxious like she always is. Anyway,
no, we had a friend of mine had that yesterday. We were playing Starship Troopers, and then for suddenly, I'll be right back. Oh, there's a puma on my porch.
All right, so
yeah, take a look at the stuff that the guy designed. It's like he's searching for other ways to get maybe sell STLs and stuff like that, because the stuff he designed was awesome.
Are these all his or?
Yes. Yeah, they had like Lamentus, shoulder pads, Flash Terror, Sons of Horrors, or Black Legion, or whatever you want to call them. Stuff for the Minotaurs, and it was just like some of the funniest chain swords that are chain weapons that I ever seen.
Yeah, I think they look very, very good.
Yeah, and I tried to convince him that hey, don't give up. COVID was bad for everyone that had a business.
Oh yeah, it was dreadful. My mom had to close her dog kennel.
Mm.
So yeah, but yeah, I think you could sell these. I'd tell them to advertise on like Colts and Thingiverse. Put up like something basic but still good looking. Put it up for free as like a taster on Colts or Thingiverse, and then from there, kind of like one page rules. They have like a free dwarf warrior and like a free skeleton warrior like on Colts, but then all like their really intricate stuff they have like on their Patreon and for like behind a paywall. So I'd tell them to do something akin to that.
I mean, the funny thing was like there was one halberd weapon, and the funny thing is like this halberd energy weapon was pictured on Games Workshop like community homepage where like, hey, that's a nice 1,000 suns. Have fun with this one, and I was like, for some reason I know this weapon from somewhere. So it's like no external parts for Warhammer, but it's okay on Warhammer community.
Yeah, and it looks cool.
Mm.
So yeah, I just that's.
But yeah, maybe you can give the guy a reach around, if possible. When I get a hang of him, maybe I say maybe you can give him a better tip. I mean, he's a good designer, and it would be sad if the stuff is lost forever.
Yeah, that would suck. Did you say reach around?
No, not like that kind of reach around.
I was just saying. I don't know if that means something different there.
Yeah, not native English speakers. Like giving a hand by like giving a hint,
Right.
Like sneak in from the side. It's like, do it like this. Bye.
I
Like a sneaky hint or
yeah,
something.
I can give him some pretty basic tips, but I'm not like the expert on anything. Like my bits and stuff, like I have quick plug for the stream for those interested. I have full miniatures and bits and stuff available on my Patreon for Warglaive, and I'm also gonna add stuff onto it that isn't just Warglaive specific. It is stuff for different customizations for other games if people want. I have stuff like that, but I'm not making like bank or anything myself when it comes to what I have available. So I'm not an expert, but I can give tips on. It looks like he has a lot more of a library of stuff than I do, so I can give him tips on what I'm planning to do once I have enough stuff built up for a library. I could do that much, but I can't like give him the answers. I could just give him ideas.
The thing is, like, some miniatures for Warglaive I would like to use, for example, for like the tabletop Deathwatch pen and paper. It's like a weird Xenos that nobody has ever seen before. Because in the tabletop version, everyone has like a Deathwatch Marine like as his personal character on the table.
Right.
That's the best thing you can use for Deathwatch. Make bits. About 25 mortal wounds in one round. But yeah, have fun and thank you for having me.
Thank you for coming on. I appreciate it. Alright, so we're gonna pull in the next person. That'd be Aussie. Aussie, welcome to stream. How you doing?
Hello. Can I be heard?
I can hear you. I can hear you, yeah.
I live from Chile, so the internet sometimes in here sucks ass a little bit.
Sorry to hear.
Let's see. Wait a moment. Is there any delay or something?
I don't hear a delay on my end.
Do I hear myself? Wait a moment. Let me open the stream. Let's see if I hear myself like a robot. Okay. There's no delay, I think. Well, at least there's a little bit delayed. Okay.
At most, there's like a very minute amount of fuzziness.
Okay, I'm going to make it quick. I'm going to have a little bit of problems because of language barrier a little bit, but okay. My favorite chapter is the Avenging Sons.
The Avenging Sons?
Yeah, the Avenging Sons, because they are the McNamara fallacy applied in 40k. Like the whipping boys, so to speak. I mean, for example, the example that you said with Titus, that they say that the guy is like the best Ultramarine or sort of or something like that, and the guy actually just follows that is the thing. The guy actually follows a little bit the Codex Astartes, just like William said, put it out. Because the guy said that my teachings are yet flawed. No one, not even one as such as I, can anticipate every possible outcome. But the thing that I find funny about the Avenging Sons is the guys literally follow the thing like the thing was the Bible or so. And sadly, because of that, the guy usually tend to die more in many. For example, here's some battles over here. If I remember correctly. Well, I mean, do you know the guys? A little bit?
I don't know much about the Avenging Sons.
I mean, there's barely lore about them a little bit.
Yeah, I will say this is the first time I've heard of them. I know of the book Warhammer 40k Avenging Sun, but that's I'm assuming not about them.
No.
Avenging Sons.
And that would be my favorite, a little bit goofy. Well, that is my problem a little bit because I'm a more Veldar player, usually.
I just pulled up their Lexiconum page. They're successors of the Ultramarines. I mean, I kind of figured green and blue. Blue being the primary color.
Yeah, kind of. I mean, look at all the elves, dude.
Wow.
Oh boy. But the other thing it is, those are the guys that I looked up a long time ago because I'm not well versed in the Astartes lore a little bit. So I will ask the chat, what will be the best thing that I should go?
So you're looking for like a recommendation on like a chapter?
A good recommendation because I know surface information about the chapters, but I haven't read the books of the chapters. I haven't read the novels.
Okay.
That is a little bit of a temper tantrum of mine because I don't like the idea of having this like a cat of Schrödinger and said like, oh, this could be or could not be canon. This could be
Right.
propaganda or in the Black Library, and so I don't know, Chad. What do you think?
I will, on behalf of chat and myself, for giving you a recommendation. I'd have to ask, what do you find compelling, like in like not only characters but like in a faction?
What I find compelling.
Yeah, like
Look,
are they warlike?
Look, I will go for Iron Warriors, but my problem with the Iron Warriors is that it's like a biased idea that I have of them, and I don't think that it will be like a hearty choice, like a sincere choice, to be honest.
All right, so you value, using the Iron Wars as an example, you value strength, ingenuity.
It's something more like effectiveness.
Ooh.
Like effectiveness.
In battle, or more in terms of like actual successes under the belt?
No, not something like success under the belt, like something that marks the characters usually. For example, I hated Perturabo, to be honest. I hated the guy because I am petty, but not that petty. And actually applies to the guy because the guy is human, so to speak, but not human at the same time. But that is the thing. I'm effectiveness because I know surface things about the traitor legions and sort of. For example, I was the first Warhammer Fantasy player after the end of times happened, and then I emigrated here.
Okay. Well, effectivity.
Okay, MK says white consoles. White consoles.
I was gonna recommend the Black Templars, but okay.
The Black Templars. I wonder why.
Well, they're my favorite, but I also would argue if we're gonna argue effectivity, they are
effectivity. Making big chapters, actually going to a full-on crusade, and actually getting shit done.
Yes, they argue. I would say it's very hard to argue that they're not effective. So I that's my argument, but white consoles. I don't know if I know those. White consoles 40k. Lexicon entry.
White consoles.
Really? They're from the Ultramarines? I was gonna guess White Scars, but okay.
Alright, over here.
Okay.
Lord Metal Man. That's nice.
Let's see here.
Asmo is a man of taste, but I will admit I am biased. Look, I could go to Crimson Fists, but I think that will be too biased, too Spanish for me.
Oh, Pedro Reyes says Lamenters. Hey!
Pedro Cantoro, yeah.
Again, using the factor of effectivity, I would argue against the Lamenters because they've had their entire chapter nearly wiped out twice. So
I don't know. I like that their luck is like mysterious thing that don't even.
I mean, yeah, if you want a troll choice,
on it, man.
Yeah, if you want a troll choice for like comedy's sake, yeah, the Lamenters, but they are.
Oh come on, man! They have their moments. They
rescued a planet and at the expense of most of their people's lives. But yeah, they have their moments of heroicism, but effectivity. I wouldn't. I don't think so.
But that were. Oh, anyway. We're a little bit more. Also, happy to see you back, man.
Oh, thank
It will
you.
be a good run, man. Okay. Next guy is Karn. All right.
Yeah. I'll pull him
The
in.
third one.
Thank you so much for coming on. I appreciate it.
Appreciate you, man.
No
All right, Karn.
Alright, Karen. Karen, welcome.
Welcome. So, you have been asking people what is the best chapter.
Yes.
Well, what? It's the best chapter there is. The number one. The best of all of them.
Enthusiasm.
It's the... Of course, the number one. The Emperor created them first. Gave them the number one.
The Dark Angels?
Archangels. They are literally number one of the Emperor's list. Therefore, they are the best.
I just
They-
wanna,
The Horus Heresy
I just
did
wanna-
not in Legion rise up. Instead, they fought off 80% of every every traitor. That's why they're able to come on Terror, because they are number one.
Have you been drinking?
I'm not done drinking.
This is the way you came in. You're not super slurred, but it's the confidence and energy. It's like I feel the
thing is
beers.
The thing is that you couldn't hear because of my microphone. I had the Ultramarine chant in the background.
Okay, I couldn't hear it.
Yeah, that's a problem with having a mic that's maybe a little bit too good.
Okay.
So, continue. Your small Space Wolf brain might not understand this because the Dark Angels beat you ass every single fucking
I'm
time.
Black Templars, but okay.
Doesn't matter. They did the night thing first. They are number fucking one.
I want to go to a sports game with you.
What? Oh, sports game with me? Oh, oof. I'm quite something when that happens. But
Well,
yeah,
okay,
I love
what about traders? What about
Traders?
Yeah.
Oh, traders are also the actually like the Dark Angels on their own are like one of my favorite ones. But trader. I really like. I like the Night Lords themselves. I don't like Curse that much. I think Curse is somewhat of a dickhead, and it's mostly the Terran-born Night Lords that I like because, well, they have the personality and the means to actually be really good people. Too bad the Primarch is Curse. Same thing with the Iron Warriors. They could be great people, but the Primarch sucks ass. So I think for trade I would go, yeah, Night Lords.
Okay then.
Do I even need to say why the Night Lords?
No. Well, you kind of did. I get it. Like,
Yeah, and not just that, they've reached compliance so fucking easy on every planet.
I mean, yeah. Once you kill a portion of the population on every planet and use them and string up their bodies as a sign of what will happen if you do what they did, yeah, that would put a lot of people into submission.
Dude, one of my favorites. Some fuckers decided to go like gather up the giant space navy and fight the space marines. But yeah, nothing but. And they did it. And then came back to giant parades. Everyone was hyped as shit. Like, yeah, we defeated them. And then all the doors, the boarding doors, every gate of the ships open. And there's just this waft of mutilated corpses raining down on the parade. And the planet surrendered then and there.
Yep.
Outside of that engagement, not a single shot was fired. I adore stupid stuff like
To
that.
quote Tiki in the chat, hashtag Night Lords save lives.
They take lives, but sometimes they save more than they take.
They're like really edgy Batmen,
I love those stupid helmets.
whereas
They're
the Raven Guard are
amazing.
traditional Batman.
I also like the Raven Guards a lot.
Well,
Oh, yeah, sorry that I did not pull up like a non-first made chapter. Like I could say that I the the Black Dragons. For someone who wants to look into a chapter that's a little bit that's not as much talked about, the Black Dragons are a fantastic chapter.
I would second that. The Black Dragons are pretty cool.
Yeah, they have all what you need in a good chapter. They have tragedy, the tragedy.
The tragedy.
Yeah, sorry.
Massachusetts.
Drinking and English is. Yeah, it's a nice. Hey, it's a nice state, dude. They have their own unique unit. They are amazing.
Yeah.
With just good math. Nightlord reloading his bolt and cleaning his knife. Don't get that one.
Alright, well, thank you for coming on, Craig.
Yeah. Do you have any other questions? I haven't seen the start of the stream.
Nah, that's quite literally just the. This one's more of a laid back, straightforward stream.
Yeah.
Open
But like I
mind.
said, facts are on my side. The Emperor created the Dark Angels as the number one. They are the number one. See you later, my dude.
See you later. He came in, I immediately knew there was booze involved. Normally, he's a little bit more laid back. Well, I say laid back. That was great, though. He just comes in, and I feel like my drunk uncle just kicked in the door and went, "You know why the Patriots are the best football team in the world? Because they are." That's great. Oh shit. Okay. Lighting Lunatic, welcome. Can you hear me?
Gosh darn it, I muted myself and I don't have Car's excuse of being drunk.
That's fine. So, what's your favorite Loyalist and Traitor chapter in Warband?
Right. Loyalist, easy. Black Templars.
Respect.
Vicious.
You are
vicious.
You are the first person other than me in this stream who is correct.
Yeah, I first got into it because they were, vicious, close quarters enthusiasts, which I obviously approve of for obvious reasons. You've seen me in other games.
Very much melee.
Very much melee. Very much melee. Much hacky slashy smashy. Also, just how zealous they are. 40k to a T.
Yeah. In fact, they were
also
on
like-
the cover of not the second edition. I think it was a third edition or second edition. They
I'm
were on
pretty
the
sure
cover
it
of the
was
box.
third edition, which was when I first got into it. My buddy said, hey, you want to try this awesome game? And he had me fight his orcs, and he just gave me a couple attack squads. Didn't have any neophytes on hand, unfortunately. And the first model that really stuck out to me in the whole range, the OG Emperor's Champion model.
Oh yeah. Hell yeah.
Glorious, glorious. So I've just been a Black Templar fanboy with a I ever since.
I
So I
respect
came
it.
for the, I came for the zealotry and close quarters viciousness, but the more I looked into them, the more I started to really identify with them. For one thing, they're fleet based. I
Yep.
actually love me a good space naval engagement. So just give me a strike cruiser and a squadron of rapid strike vessels, destroyers, frigates, whatever, and I'll be good. I'll just go out crusading and kicking ass Persian Xenos and purifying the name of the Emperor.
Hell yeah. Alright, what about traders?
Traders, that's a lot more difficult for me because I'm actually not really fond of any of the original trader legions for various reasons that are entirely personal.
Okay.
I admit they've got their good points, but they've also got their bad points, which kind of turn me off.
Alright, so none of them
I would-
speak to you at all.
None of the original legions. However, there is a war band that, as I've looked into them, I've actually quite liked them more and more and more.
Hmm.
The Red Corsairs.
Okay.
who started as the Astral Claws. They were actually, fairly successful, stabilizing the Maelstrom adjacent extraction zone, alongside a couple other loyalist chapters. But due to getting, screwed over by Imperial administration, they'd had to resort to more and more drastic and heretical means, up to and including getting a bit too big for the Codex Astartes, like 3 or 4 times too big, and eventually rebelling against... It is quite based, and I approve of that. Unfortunately, the stupid Imperial administration and that one Ordo Hereticus douchebag whose name escapes me and will forever escape me, at least for the time being, decided, you know what? Traitors, let's go, take the space back and wipe these guys out. Still managed to give the Loyalists a real hard time before they finally fled into the Maelstrom and finally turned to chaos. But still managed to be very effective pirates.
I mean, with a name like the Red Corsairs, it would be unfortunate if they didn't have anything piratey about them. So, that is... I will admit, I don't know a ton about the Red Corsairs. Warbands as it is where I'm kind of, not the most versed. But if they're from the Astral Claws, that definitely automatically gets some familiar notes.
It's the remnants of the Astral Claws.
Yeah. I figured they weren't all gone.
Yeah, they're still kicking around despite all the setbacks they've had thrown at them. And as I say, they fell to chaos, but they really more use chaos like a tool, another weapon in their arsenal. Very dangerous tool, but still often a very useful tool.
Well, good choices.
Yep, and that's my logic. Short, sweet, simple, to the point, like a fell cleave to a face.
Hell yeah. Well, thanks for the choices, and I actually got to look up the Red Corsairs more, because I don't know much about them as a warband. So, there's that. But yeah, your loyalist choice is spot on, and you are actually correct.
Of course I'm correct. There's nothing better than, oh, hey, there's Pershing that's got to get done over there. All right, off we go then. All right, so on to the next one. I believe one of your good buddies is waiting on line 1, so I'll get going and get back to my sandwich from work. Take care, Asmo.
Take care. Thank you for coming on. James Mackin. The Red Corsairs are in possession of a Blackstone fortress. Well, fuck. Goddamn. For Blackstone fortress. Yeah, definitely gotta look into them then, because that's a huge blank spot on my record. Alright, pulling in, I can't call him that, so Calkiel. Calkiel, what's up? Hello? Hello? Calkiel. Kann Sie hear me? Are you an Android? Or is it your settings? Parts extraordinary. Yeah. Curse of Android. Okay, so he's on Android. Yeah, that ought to do it. Discord have never fixed that bug. It's just like you move someone from who has an Android from one call to another. For some reason, their mic just turns off. I'm not sure if it's like a security feature of the Android, and that's why Discord can't fix it, because maybe it's not a bug on their end. Maybe it's the Androids themselves are designed that if they detect that the source of the call changes, they automatically turn it off for security reasons. I don't know what that is, but it's something. Because Androids specifically have this problem. How about now? There we go. I can hear you.
Ooh, excellent. Lovely times.
Yay.
Hello.
Hey, Cap.
I'm currently in hell, having a good time.
I'm sorry. Well, what? Okay, never mind. I'm glad you're having a good time in hell.
Yes.
Okay. So, what's your favorite Loyalist chapter and Traitor warband?
Right. My actual favorite Loyalist chapter is the Imperial Fists. But
Good choice.
just to talk about a chapter that probably no one has heard about, that is one of my favorites, I'm going to talk about the Celebrants chapter. It's spelled with a C, but I'm on my classical Latin phase now, so I'm going to pronounce it with a hard K. The Celebrants, they are a chapter with basically no lore. And with basically no lore, and the reason I like them is because they look neat. That's basically all I have as my reason.
I've never heard of this chapter, so...
Makes sense, because as I said, they have basically no lore. They were on Armageddon, and like 2 other things. That's it.
The Celebrants?
Yes, with a C. But as I said, I'm on my classical Latin arc, so I'm speaking more in that vein. I could pronounce it more like Latin, but I'm not gonna do that. But Celebrants.
Can you do that again? C-E-L?
E-B
Alright.
R-A-N-T-S.
T-S or D-S?
E-S. Or, no, T-S, sorry. I'm stupid.
Celebrants.
Yeah.
Or Celebrants, I guess is... Actually, I would pronounce that. Or at least
Well,
in
yeah,
English.
as I said, my classical Latin arc, so I'm doing only hard Ks.
Okay.
Or Cs, sorry.
So, Celebrants.
I could
Fucking
pronounce
nothing's
it
known
more
about
like
them. Warcry, unknown. Founding, unknown. Successors of, unknown. Successor chapters, unknown. Number, unknown. Primarch, unknown. Chapter Master, unknown. Homeworld, unknown. Marchus Monastery, unknown. Allegiance, Imperium of Man. Colors, yellow, orange, and red. Okay.
The pictures are the neat. That's what I like. I like they have a very nice color scheme.
they do.
It's obviously hard.
Yes.
It's like it's like I am a not black label. I'm a heavy metal painter. This is my chapter. They all got a fade color scheme.
Yeah, there's like for you to paint an army of these, you need a airbrush, because all the colors fade into each other.
Yep. I was looking at them up on YouTube just for fun. There's a single video that's like actually about them, and it is painting them. And indeed, he uses an airbrush.
Yeah, there's no way. Like, if you're one of the most talented glazers in terms of brush painting, I can see you doing this. But if you're an average painter, you ain't painting these without an airbrush. Because the yellow fades into the orange, and the orange fades into the red. It's all faded into each other.
Yeah. Maybe you could possibly do it with if you're the world's best wet blender. But yeah, still good luck.
Yeah, notable campaigns: the False Flag campaign, Rangda, 9 Rebellion, and the Third War of Armageddon. That's it. Wow, they got like nothing on them. Wow. Okay.
I do like the interpretation though, based on like the few details in that they're a very like pious chapter. I find that idea to be kind of funny.
Yeah, I mean, like I can understand why liking them being vague too, because you can also fill in a lot of the blanks for yourself. Yeah, not a bad choice. But Imperial Fists are your actual favorite.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
I like Yellow. I like Siege Warfare. I like Dorn. I like Bolters.
all of those work with the Imperial Fists, especially the
Exactly.
Bolters and Dorn.
Yeah.
All right. What about traders?
Ooh, Sons of Malal. Very easy choice.
Sons of Malal. Wow. I actually know a little
Like
bit about Sons of Malal, so.
Yeah. It's like, I like that, like, single remnant of that old god still existing. Or, well, they're Sons of Malice now, but yeah.
Yeah.
It was also nice just to have a chapter that just, not chapter, warband. They just kind of hate themselves and each other.
Very fitting for Chaos too. Hate themselves, hate everybody else.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah, I think that's a good choice though. Sons of Malal, or I guess you're right, Sons of Malice now.
Rip Malal.
Yep.
You kind of exist, but you kind of don't.
And that's the theme.
Yeah.
It's Black Library. Well, anyway, I really don't have much to say. Like, I think those are good choices. I can't criticize the choices because I like them.
Mm.
Yeah, so I guess just leaves it at that. Unless you have a question for me.
Are there any obscure chapters you have some interest in, like chapters that don't get talked about a lot?
I know there's a second founding one that I don't hear people talk about a lot.
Blood. Which legion?
I believe they're unknown founding, but hold on. I know. Hold on. I think I mentioned them earlier. I think it's the White Templars.
Oh.
Yeah, actually, are they second founding? I'm not sure.
Was it white? Did they mention?
Yeah, White Templars. Yeah, at one point it was they were like I know in an earlier edition, I think it was 5th or 6th edition, they were mentioned in a book. Yeah, I believe for a while a lot of people thought, including themselves in the lore, they thought they were the Sons of Dorn, but I think in a recent updated book it turns out that their founding is unknown now.
Oh, well, that's interesting.
Yeah, like if you look on the wiki, which I don't like using, but that's the first one that came up. Yeah, once believed to be Rogel Dorn was their Primarch, but that's been corrected. The lore, well, it's not. It's one of those things where in the universe they also thought that for the longest time, but it recently has been revealed that that is not the case. They don't know their founding anymore.
That's odd.
Yeah, a lot of people don't seem to know anything about the White Templars. Like, I recently was in a discussion with people about obscure chapters, and the funny thing is when I mentioned the White Templars, people thought I was trying to talk about the Black Templars. I'm like, no. There's a whole nother chapter with Templar in the name and a color. It's the White Templars.
Yeah, I'd heard about them before. I've not read up on them. I don't read up on many things, really. I just know them passingly, so to speak.
What's the thing is very little is known about the chapter. Like they're loyalist, and they have a lot of Rogel Dorn-esque traits. Like that's why for the longest time themselves in the lore and the fan base included thought they were the sons of another set of the Sons of Dorn, another offshoot of the Black Templars, but. Yeah, as of now, it's the most that there's very little lore about them. Like they don't have like an origin set up properly. It's just noted that they're stoic and relentless in terms of their prosecution of enemies. So they're very much just like the Black Templars, just different color scheme. It's like the reverse. It's like they're mostly white with like black pauldrons.
Wouldn't you be really happy if it turned out they were Sons of Lorgar?
That'd be funny, actually, to be honest.
That could be really something, but probably not the case, though.
Probably not, because the White Templars are pretty anti-chaos. Like, that's their theme. specifically. Whereas the Black Templar just hate everything that's against the Imperium, like mutants, heretics, so on, with extreme prejudice. The Templars are a little bit more specific to just chaos. Like, they really fucking hate chaos, and they actively go out of their way to hunt chaos.
Yeah.
So that's the White Templars. I find that a lot of people don't know they exist. Yeah. Karn pointed out that there's also Red Templars. Yeah, I think they're just as obscure. Yeah, Red Templars. Go to Lexiconum. Yeah, there's like nothing on the Red Templars either. But the Red Templars symbol is basically the same as the Sisters of Battle. It's the Reeve thing.
What's it called? Fleur de Lis?
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah, it's basically the same thing, but on a red Space Marine. Well, anyway,
Yeah.
I think that does it for this open mic. There's no other people on the calls, and I'm all set with your responses, Calcio, and I appreciate you for coming on. I thank you for being my last caller.
Thank you.
Yeah, I think this was a pretty good stream. It was fun to, have people come on, share their favorites, give the reasons why, listening to... we had a lot of people who really like the Carcharodons and Iron Warriors, so for, like, traders.
Nice choices, though.
Yeah. Not bad choices, that's for sure. But anyway, thanks everybody so much for watching. Thank you, Calcio, for coming on. Check...
Good luck.
Check out the Patreon if you're interested in picking up some STLs, or if you want to support the development of Warglaive Gothic, the tabletop war game I am developing, and setting I'm developing. Outside of that, yeah, I will call it a day. I'm going to be streaming Street Fighter 6 on the gaming channel, but I'm not sure if any of y'all will be interested in that. But if you are, I'll be over there streaming that for a few hours, trying that game out. I got it as a gift on Steam, so anyway. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll catch you guys next time. Bye-bye.